Welcome to Derek Does. Today, we're going to do these. Welcome to another Derek Does. I'm Derek. Thanks for joining me. If you're new here, please subscribe. I always have some cool stuff, and look through my old catalog of videos and you might find some fun things to look through. But today, we are going to be talking about something I just picked up. I was at a thrift store recently and somebody donated their wardrobe. And part of that was these. These are four. There was one more I couldn't get. Someone else got it too before I got to it. But it was four vintage, and these would be from like 1960 probably to early 80s. Pendleton Woolen Mills Virgin Wool Shirts for men. These were so popular. If you don't know about these, I'm going to give you a little bit of history on them. And if you ever see these, totally pick one of these up. And I'll show you things to look for and things to not look for. These were all great. They're all about a size large, so they're all kind of my size-ish. Pendleton is what they call is Pendleton Woolen Mills, and it's in Pendleton, Oregon. And I think about 1909 is when they actually, or maybe 1902, when they started the mill. And basically what they did was they made blankets, and they're famous for their blankets. They would make really top end blankets, and indigenous people would buy them, trappers would buy them, anybody living out where you would need a heavy duty, sturdy blanket would get that. And in about 1924, they started making men's shirts out of what they call virgin wool, which is just wool that hasn't been recycled. And these are not from 1924, but these are shirts probably from like the mid 60s up to, again, like I said, maybe the early 80s. They still make shirts, and they're very expensive, like really expensive. In the 60s, they made what was a board shirt, and surfers wore them. It was just it's like a wool jacket almost, but it's not really a jacket. It's just a heavier duty shirt that would keep you warm, from the morning tide, the coldness from the ocean, but then you could take it off and that sort of thing. But trappers wear these, outdoorsmen wear these, business guys wear these. Everybody wears these, or at least they did. When I was growing up, everybody had a Pendleton shirt. Usually you had one or two, that was it. This guy had four. Actually had five. I have four. They're different styles. They're different. When I say styles, I mean just the colors and everything like that. And I'll show you each of these shirts that I currently have. And they're all made in the USA. They still, as I was saying, Pendleton still makes shirts, but they're not made in the USA. They're woven in the USA at the mill, and then they send it off probably to China or something, and then they sew it up and then they send it back. So, but these are actually all USA made. They were milled, done all in the factory. And I remember a couple years ago, Pendleton had a huge sale because they moved everything. And they were selling all the sewing machines. That's another thing I'm into, is the old sewing machines. And they had a couple sewing machines, and I did get two of them actually. At one of their factories, I got, well, I won't go into what I got, but I did get a couple of machines from them. I don't have many more. But it was an ordeal to actually ship them from Oregon down to California, where I was living at the time. But I'm going to show you these shirts. They're all really fantastic. Each one's a little different, and you can kind of look what to look for with the Pendleton shirts. So I'll put each one on, and you can kind of see how they look, and we'll go from there. I'll put them on the hanger, and you can look at some close-ups, details of these. Things to look for when looking for a Pendleton shirt, and you'll find them at the thrift store, and you'll see it'll say like large, and you'll pick it up and it's like this big, because they put it in the washing machine and then they threw it in the dryer and it just shrunk up. So look for that sort of stuff. Always look for moth holes, damage like that, because again, these are all wool. This sort of thing happens. Like in the Midwest and the East Coast, you're going to have more problems with that as opposed to in the West, where you don't really have an issue with moths. But look for that. Again, if it's not too bad, if it's just for yourself, you can mend those up and they look great. I like a shirt with a couple mends on it. I think it makes the shirt look better, especially if it's a vintage shirt. But those are things to look for. Things you want is obviously like these. They look like the size they are. They measure the size they are. They really haven't been crazily worn or washed. So those are the shirts you want to look for to pick up, unless you buy a new one. But again, if you buy a new one today, it's not made in the USA or sewn in the USA. It's just of USA fabric, imported is how they do it. And they charge a lot of money for it, where you can find these if you're lucky, or if you just go on eBay. You can go on eBay and just make sure, check the measurements and make sure nothing's wrong with them. Actually, all these shirts are currently up on eBay, and I'll put a link down below if you're interested in any of these shirts. And if they don't sell, I'll wear them. You know, it's that's the nice thing about when you find your own size. You can put them up for sale, and if nobody really got them, then I'll wear them. So without further ado, let's take a look at each of these shirts. Alright, so I'm just going to show you kind of what a Pendleton, what you get when you get one. This one is a red plaid, obviously, and this one actually has, sometimes they actually put down what the plaid, and this one is an authentic McLaren tartan. So this is more of a Scottish tartan on the collar. Now the original weaver of Pendleton was British, so he would know his tartans, I'm sure. Here you can see the tag. This is how you can tell an old one. And let's say, you know, it's a size large, pure virgin wool, made in the USA, warranted to be. This one actually has a like a, I don't know, a nylon-y material here, just around the collar and along the sides. They're not all like this. Has two flat pockets with buttons, and has these red iridescent buttons with it to make it look nice. And as you can see, and it has longer tails for tucking it in. So it's not really a board shirt. A board shirt would not have tails. It would be just straight across, because again, like I was saying, is more of a jacket. You might find one of those. Those are really nice also. I've also had Pendleton like blazers. They're like almost like a smoking jacket blazer style, but these are just, this video is just on the shirts. So here you can see, has not crazy collar on it, because again, it's not mid 70s where you might get a bigger collar because of just the fashion. But this is the just a red plaid from the Pendleton. Let's take a look at another one. Now here we have a green plaid one, and you can see it's different than the red one. The major things is the pockets have more of a westerny down, where the other ones was more smooth. Still has a nice crisp, has that same nylon-y material that matches. And this one is actually a 15.5, so they actually went by the collar, not by just the size. But it's still made in the USA, very similar. As you come down, and then this one does not have the type of tartan it is, but it does have longer back tails, which is interesting. And then on the inside, you can find these sometimes. I might have to show you. It's a care tag. Let me open this up a little bit. On washing. Kind of gives you instructions there. That was like hidden on the inside on this particular one. And this one's probably my favorite. This is, again, you can see it's a longer tails like the other one. This is like just like the other one we saw, only this is in like what they would call a gray shadow plaid. And they call it a shadow plaid because it's a plaid, but it kind of looks blurry, kind of shadowy. And that's what a shadow plaid is. As you can see, this is a 16. The other one's a 15.5. And this one also has, let me open this up. The care information there about washing. I think the majority why these have this here is just so you don't get itchy from the wool. Some people don't like wool on their skin. They get itchy, and if around your neck or something like that, that would keep it from being itchy and rubbing your neck. That's the reason why that's like that. And again, this one doesn't have what the tartan is, because it's not really a tartan, it's a shadow plaid. And the back looks just as good too. I love these. And the last one is very similar to the others, but different. You can still see it has a longer tails on it. It has its care tag down here about how to wash them. So you can wash them in the machine, but you have to take them out. You can't put them in the dryer. And this one's actually called the Country Traditions by Pendleton. So this is more, this feels more 70s to me, just the colors and everything. And again, this has just a single pocket here. It doesn't have the dual pocket. Still has the iridescent buttons that match. And you can see this is a size large. The same nylon around here just to keep you from being itchy. But this has a real 70s feel and vibe and color scheme to me. This is what you want to wear with a cowboy hat. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode on the vintage Pendleton shirts. Again, these are all made in the USA from probably the late 60s up to the early 80s. And you can tell from it, each one gives a different feel. Like that's the nice thing about the Pendleton shirts. Even though the shirts are very similar, they, with the color schemes, how they've woven them, each one has a different vibe. You know, like the shadow plaid has more of a 50s rockabilly vibe. This one has more of a 70s vibe. This could go either way, and so could the green, I think, for me, you know, just if you're into vintage fashion. So look for these. You can find them, but again, you can't always find them in good shape, because sometimes they've been dried and they're just tiny, and other times they have holes in them or they're ripped. Just be on the lookout, and if you see them, they pop. If you go down a thrift store aisle, you can't help not see these. These just pop because they're different. These are from Pendleton Woolen Mills in Pendleton, Oregon. And they make a great shirt, and also great blankets, great coats, great everything. So anything Pendleton, it's a great brand. They make quality stuff, or they did, before they shipped it off overseas. But everything that's USA made is great. So these are those, and I will see you. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, all these are on eBay in the description link below if you're interested. I have them on a buy it now with a best offer, so feel free. And I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe give you a little insight into what a Pendleton shirt is. So we'll see. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next Derek Does.